So welcome. It is time for another previews episode of the Campus Comics Cast. My name is Scott Reed, and I am joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison
and Shad Schubert.
And don't forget, the complaint line is still open. So Mike will provide you with that email address here at the end of the episode. But this is the official podcast for Muddy Monster Comics. Muddy Monster Comics located at 1422 Walnut Street in Murfreesboro, Illinois. Store hours are Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if you haven't seen the post on Facebook, Mike is super excited. Mike know that is super excited about the Muddy Monster statues that he's going to have coming out really, really soon. So if you are interested in that, you might want to contact Mike No at the shop and get yourself on a pre-order list for those statues. So without any further ado, how about we just jump right into the DC catalog?
with both feet.
All right, and my first thing's not till page 4, so I don't know what everybody else has got going on early in the DC catalog.
It was very easy for me to skip over the Shadow War stuff.
Shadow War, yeah. Since we don't know what's going on.
Dredd is, yeah. Looks like Judge Dredd's joining them on page 1.
Oh, I didn't even.
I don't think that's really Judge Dredd.
As Prometheus.
Oh, is that?
That is actually an established character. I think created by James Robinson, maybe, or no, Morrison. Grant Morrison. He was a sort of one of the. He's like, it's kind of like the Terminator in that he can use the full capacity of his brain and body. He was introduced in
Deathstroke the Terminator, not Arnold Schwarzenegger the Terminator.
Correct. Deathstroke the Terminator.
Okay, just to clarify.
Clarification.
Right. So Prometheus was he was the main villain in an arc of JLA, an early arc by Morrison and Porter. Then he also was the main antagonist in Justice League Cry for Justice by James Robinson.
I am completely unfamiliar with that character, so thank you for that.
No problem.
And of course, the first part of that Batman Shadow War hasn't hit the shelves yet, as far as I know, so there's not a whole lot to say about it at this point. But we do have on page 4, Batman Fortress 1, and I probably would have skipped over this, except for this one little line that says Gary Whitta, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is the writer for this. So that piqued my curiosity. So, because in my opinion is that Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie. So that has my interest. Ever. Oh. Yeah. And so I am I'm probably gonna have to pick this up just to see if he can transfer that over to the comics.
I know DC is Batman crazy, but like
ridiculously Batman crazy.
This story didn't need to have Batman in the front of it. It could have been Justice League Fortress based on the synopsis that we're given of like the alien ship and Superman's not around and Batman has to get together the rest of the Justice League. It doesn't feel like it has to be a Batman book.
No, and you're right. It should and just incorporate it into the regular Justice League title or whatever. It's just you got a guy who's got an 8-issue story. Just let him do his story arc, and then you can move on to somebody else.
Yeah, right. And that's what I like about the Philip Kennedy Johnson Action Comics run. It's all incorporated into the main run, and it's a lot of fun. It's an exciting story arc, a long one, but it's good.
But that's Superman, not Batman. So
yeah. I'm just comparing, like, instead of creating another miniseries or maxi series, but Batman is California. When you compare, a lot of people talk about how California is the 5th biggest economy in the world, and that's kind of like what Batman is to DC Comics.
That's true. Yeah.
But fairly enough, DC stands for Detective Comics, where Batman got his start.
Yep, that's true. So I kind of just want to mention, Mike, I was just going to see if you were going to talk about page 7.
Well, I didn't have it on my notes, but and mostly because I wasn't a big fan of Flashpoint to begin with, and I'm not going to pick up Flashpoint Beyond. Oh, okay. But when you see on the cover the Psycho Pirate it does make it more tempting. He's been sort of one of the catalysts of many of the crises. He's after the first crisis, he was the one character that remembered the multiverse, and that was really well done that they did it like that. Everybody else sort of forgot that there was multiple universes and stuff, except for him, Roger Hayden. But I'll probably pick this up in trade or something like that.
I think I'm going to read this eventually. Probably not while it's coming out, but I actually, I'm in the minority. I feel like that liked the first Flashpoint series, so I think this would be something worth taking a look at. And then I also read today, and so I don't think it's in this catalog, but Mime and Marionette from Doomsday Clock are supposed to show up at some point in Flashpoint Beyond. So,
well, their creation of Jeff Johns, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and I really like those two characters. So,
for sure.
And then so seeing Cycle Pirate on issue 2 with, of course, the Thomas Wayne Batman, and then the Flashpoint Superman on page 8 in issue 3. Though the artwork, that is not a very good cover. I don't think anyway. So, it's by Mitch Gerards. So I'm hoping that's an unfinished. Okay, yeah, there it says it, not final. So that's good. It needs a little.
Oh, it is not final. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that. Yeah, I don't know.
It needs some more work.
Yeah.
All right, so my next thing's not till 20. So.
On page 10, I just wanted to note that they have now said that the Flash: The Fastest Man Alive, the movie tie-in this is issue 2 of 3. Last month when we got it, we were like, is this a one shot? Is this a new ongoing side by side? But it's a 3 issue that I still will be done before the movie's out. Well before that, I think, because when's the movie come out? July?
I'd had to double check. So
yeah, I don't matter. But anyways,
speaking of that's I was kind of excited when I went to the Batman movie and they were showing the previews of other DC movies, and they basically made a collage trailer or preview of all of the 2022 DC movies. And I wanted to see more of all of them. Yeah.
You know why? I saw it Thursday night, and they're still using the previous week's previews. They don't switch over to those until Friday.
Yeah. So it was somewhat of a collage, maybe because they didn't have all the footage. But these movies are coming up soon. I would think they'd have enough for a full-fledged trailer or two. But it was all just thrown together between Black Adam and Flash and Aquaman and the Lost City or Lost Kingdom or something like that. So on page 11, I have it marked annual or Action Comics 2022 annual. It's basically it's the secret origin of Mongol revealed. Mongol is he's the main bad guy in this War World long extended story arc. And it says the battle lines are drawn between the two towering forces, Mongol and Superman. And I just wanted to use this as a way to tout that Philip Kennedy Johnson written run. Art and story are both fantastic. In this particular annual, you've got Johnson, and he's assisted by Cy Spurrier, and art by Dale Eaglesham. Dale Eaglesham is one of my favorite artists. Ian Churchill's also doing some art. He's not one of my favorite artists, but still, as far as an ongoing series and a story arc in an ongoing series, this one with in Action Comics is in the best in the last couple of years, I think. And it's nice to see an annual that's part of an overall story arc and not just some one-off, whatever filler. Okay. I'm good for a little bit.
On page 12, that next one, they've got that Aquaman Andromeda issue 1 of a 3-issue Prestige Plus book. And I like the artwork more than I haven't been wowed by Ram V and his writing yet. I read the starter of the Swamp Thing book, and I've read a couple other things, and I've heard people go, "Oh, it's good, his writing," but I haven't gotten it yet. But I dig that Christian Ward artwork that's going on there. That did what was it, that Invisible Kingdom book. And so I like the artwork, not crazy about the writer. Maybe I'll pick this up and trade, but I thought it was worth mentioning that it was a horror Aquaman 3-issue kind of series there.
And the Flash is not till November.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that
sense.
series will be done by June.
Yeah.
And out of print by then.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Shad, on Ram V. I'm not, or is it Ram 5? Who knows? But I don't think he lives up to the hype. What I've read, he wrote a lot of Justice League Dark stories, and I just say were run of the mill. I thought so. I haven't been bitten by that bug yet.
Mm-mm.
I have on page 18 is my next one to talk about the Nubia.
You guys don't want to talk about
special.
Jurassic League?
Oh, for God's sake! What is wrong with these people? Come on, man! That's just embarrassing.
It looks like Ninja Turtles got a hold of it.
Yeah. It's dinosaurs, Mike. Who doesn't love dinosaurs?
If I was 7, okay, yeah, sure.
Heck yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
If this is actually written for, I'm looking for an age on it. If it's not written for kids, they've missed it.
Oh yes, absolutely, I agree.
It doesn't have mature on it, so I don't know.
It's got some blood of the Joker raptor biting the Batman raptor. Might be a little too violent.
There was a time in my life I'd pick this up just because it looked like the Justice League logo. It said League. It was a play on that. And I used to be a Justice League completist, and I'm sorry, this is a bridge too far. So Nubia on page 18, really no reason for me to get this except I thought, well, let's see where maybe if this is going to be an indication as to where the Wonder Woman mythos goes from here after the events of the Trial of the Amazons. I have no idea what that Trial of the Amazons is going to be exactly because, as we talked about last episode, our last previews episode, how much it crosses over with so many other comics. But this might be a starting point to see what the future brings. So it's a one shot, so it's worth picking up maybe for me.
So page 20, we've got Danger Street #1, and I actually skipped over this my first time through the DC catalog, and then I came back. It's like, oh, it's #1. I guess I better pay a little bit more attention to this. And of course, it's written by Tom King, and we know we've had multiple discussions about Tom King's writings, but I always give him a shot. But what's particularly interesting about this series, which is a 12-issue series, is that they're going to take a lot of the heroes from the first issue specials and kind of, I don't know, modernize them or bring them up to, current DC credibility. So you have things like Warlord and Lady Cop and what is it, like Manhunter got a treatment, I think, in one of the first issue specials, if I remember right.
Yeah, there were 13 issues in it. I mean, it went from the Green Team to the Dingbats of Danger Street, that was a Kirby, Joe Simon, I believe. The Outsiders, which is another kind of a weird one. Mm-hmm. But you also had some mainstream. I mean, okay, the story behind first issue special. At the time, the publisher was Carmine Infantino, who was really known for his artwork in the 60s Flash. Mm-hmm. But he was publisher at the time. And because they recognized that first issues were selling well, this was in probably 70, 71. First issues always sold really well, even back then. And they thought, well, let's just call the title first issue special. And it would be sort of a showcase type series. And whether it was a new character or an old one that they were trying to give some exposure to, Creeper, Dr. Fate, Warlord, the New Gods, you had a lot of characters. It was the first appearance of Warlord.
It was, yeah. Was it issue 5? 8? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why did I think it was 5?
You had a lot of introductions and reintroductions, and some stuck. Lady Cop, like you said. But this is genius. I have to say, this is genius. Now, I mean, it's calling at me from all angles here. It's King's going to write it, so it's going to be interestingly written. And I'm not really too worried about him doing too much doing too much harm to any of the characters.
No.
Oh, I know another one of the characters is the Mikhail Starman, the blue-skinned alien with the jewel in his chest. He was featured as a mainstay in the Starman by James Robinson series in the 90s. But this, I mean, it looks like they say what the premise here is that Starman Metamorpho, another one that was kind of reintroduced through this series, and Warlord, as they look to prove themselves worthy of being a member of the Justice League, they somehow summons Darkseid to see if they can defeat him in battle. Okay, that's kind of crazy, but I just think it's going to be fun, and I just can't believe no one's really thought of this before. But
okay, the variant cover in the upper left of that page, that's their Hercules, or is
that's Atlas?
Atlas. Was it Hercules? Was it Samson? I can't remember his name.
It was, like you said, like a mythological character. He might have been in the first issue special. He was a Kirby creation too.
A lot of these were Kirby issues. So
yep.
I have a few of them that in a collection I just picked up. I know I have like the Lady Cop and some of those just kind of floating around. So
yeah, there's no. I mean, used to be you could get them in quarter or 50-cent bins. I'm sure they'll grow up in value now a little bit.
Oh yeah, better pull those out and list them while the getting's good. So
there you go.
Page 22, we got Duo number 1. So now this talks as if these characters are created by Reginald Hudlin and Dennis Cowan, but it says that it's written by Greg Pak, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But as you read through this, it sounds exactly like Firestorm, except for instead of having nuclear powers, it's nanobot abilities.
Nanotech, yeah.
So, but irregardless, we've got a new story in the Milestone. I guess this really comes more from the Milestone line.
Yeah.
And though it will be, probably in the DC proper. So new number 1, definitely worth considering.
First appearance of some characters and everything. I think the thing I thought was interesting with this that brought a new concept is the husband and wife trapped in the same body leads to some shenanigans probably that you couldn't tell from a Firestorm kind of angle.
We'll see what happens with that. My next thing's not till 34.
I'm on 24.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got Justice League Road to Dark Crisis, mostly because this is back in the early aughts, you would have called it the countdown to Infinite Crisis type deal. It's basically the prelude to the next big event at DC. It's after the Justice League have supposedly died in Justice League number 75. And we're dealing with the Great Darkness, which we don't know quite yet what that is entailing, whether it has something to do with the Legion of Superheroes, Great Darkness saga and Darkseid and all of that. But it's something I have to get, and I think anybody that's a Crisis fan, they would probably get this just to see. This is the first time we've had a Crisis that's actually got the word Crisis in its name since Final Crisis, I believe.
That cover with Pariah sitting on the
that's awesome.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to track that cover down. I hope it's not. Oh, but it's not the 1 in 25. That's good. That means it's just gonna be like you can order as many as you want cover. That is incredible. That cover is amazing.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to get that cover.
It's like instead of Martian Manhunter on a throne of Oreos, it's Pariah.
Yeah, exactly.
Comic book boxes.
So is this? We think that this is going to end up potentially being the into whatever was going to be the Generations, the 5G or whatever. Because it looks like when you go to the Free Comic Book Day special edition on the next page on 25, they've got the new superheroes in the background of the existing Trinity. I'm just curious if that's how they're going to get into that.
We kind of hinted at that last month, I think, with the death of, and
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
said some of the things related to that 5G, but I'm sure it'll something that'll last a few months, then it'll go back to business as usual. You know,
I mean, you've got Jonathan Kent, Superman. You've got Yara Flor, Wonder Woman. I don't know who the Batman is, to be honest. But this is all.
Jace, isn't it Jace?
Oh, it's the new Batman. Yeah, it'd be Jace or Tim
Why am I forgetting? I'm blanking on his name.
Fox.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That would be him. Yeah. But I noticed this is basically preview art from Dark Crisis #1. So we're going to see this in the main issue anyway. This is not going to be a standalone. But either way,
Right.
I'm interested in this as usual.
On page 26.
And you can get more interested because it's a free comic book day. Look for it as well.
That's
That's right.
That's what on 26 is another free comic book day. They had advertised this Galaxy the Prettiest Star book, and I had talked about it. I don't even know if it was last month or the month before that. I was like, oh, this kind of looks interesting, new character and whatnot. But I didn't order it. I wasn't that interested. But a free comic book day version of it, I totally will be interested in it. So I was excited to see that I was going to get a free preview with a free comic book day book of that.
Yeah. I'm still at 34, so.
I'm at 34 as well, but you called it, so
okay,
have at it.
All right, so Fables was returning. We've got, if you don't remember, it ended at issue 150. And that's been how many years ago that Fables ended? 5?
God.
At least
5 years.
Least. Yeah.
And what's nice though is that they're keeping the numbering, so it's going to go to Fables 151 instead of being a new #1 issue. And
I think that's great.
Yeah, and of course they're going to have to introduce a new character. So we got a new character appearance here in Green Jack, who looks very Robin Hoodish. So Bill Willingham is back on Fables.
I like that they're advertising
ahead.
this as a jumping on point. So if you aren't familiar with it all, it seems like they're giving somebody a clean entrance here to not necessarily have to pick up exactly and read 150 issues to get caught up.
Yeah, that would be tough. So,
but let me tell you, if there is any series that I think that your average experience for every issue would be moderately high to high, as far as just enjoyability, it would be Fables.
Yeah.
Talk about a consistently good series, really good writing, really good art. They're using characters that are established in our childhoods, the Fables, just like it's called. So yeah, there was a couple downer arcs, but not great. But man, I collected every issue, and so I'm really excited to get this again and see if they pick up. And I've noticed that Bill Willingham he's been getting back in. I mean, I don't know if he's got any work with Marvel, but he did the Bigby Batman versus Bigby.
Yeah, that's right.
Arc, the Big Bad Wolf. So he's one of the better writers I've ever experienced. So I don't think it's going to be bad, but we'll see.
My next thing's 42.
Done.
I'm pretty much done.
Well, I just want to say on Action Comics again, 1043. I don't know where we're at in this arc, but it's just some of the best Superman reading I've ever experienced. World's Finest #3. I can't wait to read the first issue so I can talk about how good it is. If you want a little bit of, I think if we get a little bit of insight to this next crisis by reading Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes. Although I have to tell you, Brian Michael Bendis is on my last nerve with his dialogue being so quippy and bantery with everybody. It's not so bad in the Legion, but the Justice League, look, a couple of them might talk like that, but not all of them. It's just he's got Aquaman talking
like
quippy.
He did it in Peacemaker.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's been weeks.
Thanks, Scott.
And you haven't finished that up yet?
Thanks, Scott. I got a job. Sorry.
All right. You're in
No,
a hotel room. You got time.
You're right. As soon as we get done, I'm going to be watching the rest of Peacemaker on my tablet. Anyway, I'm just going through the little mini solicitations in the back of the book, and One Star Squadron. I'd like to talk about that series when it's done, because I have some comments about it, and they're not all great. So
this is the last issue solicited.
Yeah, that's the last issue. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm just going to mention on page 42 that Teen Titans Academy number 15 is the final issue of that series. And then on page 45, you have I think they've done this before, Batman Court of the Owls mask and book set. So if you're one of those people who want to cosplay as one of the Court of Owls, you can get the Owls mask just here along with the Scott Snyder New 52 Volume 1 of Batman. Kind of like what they did for V for Vendetta.
Have it and have it signed by Greg Capullo.
Oh, cool. That would be easy to get signed with it being nice, bright, and white like that, isn't it?
Yes.
So on that page before, page 41 was where the One Star Squadron number 6 is. And also it has the Suicide Squad final issue, just like, what'd you say, Teen Titans Academy?
Oh, okay.
So Suicide Squad hit that was a quick run.
Well, they're both ending at 15. That's kind of crazy.
It is. Yeah. That's all I have for DC, though.
Yeah, I'm finished with DC as well. So on to Marvel.
On the Marvel.
And of course, for some reason, the Marvel catalog was broken up into 3 parts. If you're using the digital catalog.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They broke it up into 3 separate files for some reason. We don't know why. So at some point I'll have to stop and we'll switch files to jump over to the next catalog. So the next part of the catalog. But here on page 1, we have Captain America: Symbol of Truth number 1. Now, as I understand it, and they only have this one issued or solicited this month, is that we're going to get 2 Captain America books, one following Sam Wilson and one following Steve Rogers. So here we have the Sam Wilson issue 1 solicited. So new Captain America book, and again focusing on Sam Wilson as opposed to Steve Rogers. So we're actually going to have 2 Captain Americas in the Marvel universe for a bit, for a while.
Do you think that I'm curious, like, why doesn't Sam get the Captain America proper title without the colon, unless the other one's also going to be a subtitled thing?
I think if they have one that's just Captain America, that's going to be the Steve Rogers one. So, but I suspect we'll probably get the Steve Rogers one will probably have a colon as well.
Maybe like Symbol of Justice
or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm that's what I'm expecting to happen anyway. So, let's see, what's my next thing? Page 6 is my next thing.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if we talked about Banner War last time, and I think it was a first issue. I guess this is going to be continued in both Thor and the Hulk title. So part 2 is in Thor and part 3 is in Hulk. So I don't remember realizing that last time. So I just wanted to point that out for anybody because I figured that people want to follow that, Hulk versus Thor smash each other story. So I figured that people want to follow along with that. So you got to pick up those books.
That Thor. Goodness.
Now that I won't edit.
The Thor 25 is the 60th anniversary celebration, which gets you into the writers being Donny Cates, Nadia Shamas, and more instead of just that. So it looks like they're gonna maybe have a supersized. Yeah, it's a 56-page book.
Gary Frank covers.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next thing is not until page 22.
That's where I'm at too.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Talk about page 22.
I don't know much about page 22, but it's a new number 1.
Would you like me to
And
talk
it's
about page 22?
Yeah, it's the new Fantastic Four. Have at it.
All right. So back in FF 347 to 349, and I don't remember why. The only thing I remember about these issues is it had Arthur Adams artwork on it. So that's kind of like the hidden gem variant here. So that's Arthur Adams artwork there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, for some reason, Grey Hulk, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Ghost Rider become the new Fantastic Four. So you hear this story about the new Fantastic Four, and they were the new Fantastic Four for 3 issues, and then went back to being the regular Fantastic Four. So I guess this team has a little bit of a I don't know if cult following is the right word for it, and I really think most of the fondness for these issues is because of the Arthur Adams artwork. But yeah, so now we're getting a new story with these 4 members in this unusual version of the Fantastic Four. So
I guess it picks up shortly after the 3-issue series. It says it's picks up after their introduction and blah blah blah. So
yeah, written by Peter David. Yeah. That would make sense because like I was actually thinking, I guess I missed that part of it, and I was thinking, how are they going to tie this into the current Hulk? Hulk's not gray right now. So that would explain a lot. So
is that back then in that short little story arc of Fantastic Four? Was it the Gray Hulk with the Mo Howard haircut that was?
This was the Joe Fixit. This was the Joe Fixit version of the Hulk, is what that.
I got you. Yeah. I can deal with the gray, the Joe Fixit, but definitely the Mo Howard haircut needs to be improved. No, that's curly.
All right, 26 is my next thing. So Secret Invasion, we're getting a new Secret Invasion leading up to they're going to have a TV series at some point. So I guess
they already do.
They need to. They already do.
Yeah, it's called Peacemaker.
Secret. Oh, okay. Anyway,
not wrong.
You can edit that out since you're on a on a roll.
So I guess they want to have keep people's remind them about the Skrulls, and what their capabilities are. So I guess we need a series, it's going to lead at some point into the future to the Secret Invasion series.
And the concept doesn't seem like anything they're not doing anything new with Secret Invasion. Are you picking up anything?
No, it's really, it's like, oh, they found another Skrull. It's basically what it boils down to. So yeah. So I guess they're not all gone yet. So
you got a 5-issue run with Gambit, written by Chris Claremont.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to go back to the early days. So again, we got new Fantastic Four going back to the early days. You got this Gambit story going back to the early days of the character. We're going to talk about X-Men here in a little bit, going back to the earlier days of the characters. So a lot of living in the past in this month's catalog for Marvel.
Feel a little nostalgic this month.
Trying to recapture that feeling.
36, my next thing.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so page 30. I feel like we talked about this last month in the previews, but Spider-Gwen verse number 3 has the Gwen Stacy as Captain America cover. I'm pretty sure we talked about that character last time, so I don't know if this has just been delayed a month or maybe, if I was looking ahead. So
it's the only one that has that line that says order using code.
Yeah,
it's the only one in the whole book that I found.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing it must have had a delay. So, so I'll mention again. It's here in the catalog. Let's just talk about it one more time. And then page 40. Are you
40? On 40?
On page 40. Who did I tell you we were going to talk about today in this episode?
Boy Roy.
Boy the boy. Hey, you know what? I was rewatching before it left Netflix. I was rewatching Punisher. And I realized that he is one of the inmates in one of the prisons, or in Daredevil. He's one of the inmates in one of the prison scenes in Daredevil.
Roy is?
Thomas is?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Really?
If it's not him, he has a twin.
Well, his haircut's always been one of those very recognizable ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, every time I drive past Cape Girardeau in Jackson, I think about it because I know he's originally from Jackson, Missouri.
So here on page 40, we got X-Men Legends #1. And these are basically stories from the earlier days of the X-Men. I really think it's going to be pre-giant size X-Men, the way that I took this. So we're going to get some of the original X-Men before we got the new X-Men team, and including some. I guess Roy Thomas had a couple of runs on X-Men there late in that book's. Well, and later in that book's run, but before Claremont took over the writing duties.
I know one thing. It'd be great. It'd be great to have a copy of that giant size X-Men #1. I don't know anybody that has one.
I know one person who has one.
Do you know one person?
I know one person that has one. So
Shad's like, what the heck are you guys talking about?
This is weird though, because they're rebooting X-Men Legends. I mean, this is not weird, but they ended on like issue 12 where Claremont was doing like he was doing a run like last month, and now they're just going back to a new #1 to do the exact same thing they were already doing, which was telling stories to bridge the gap between classic stories.
I guess it's just to differentiate the Claremont books from the other writers' books. Who knows what they're thinking? It's aggravating.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. You just hardly ever see anything over single digits anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the concept. The concept's cool, but they were already doing that concept.
Yeah. Let's see.
Have you read? Sorry. Probably you haven't, but I was eager to hear somebody talk about Excellent. It's soliciting on page 52, issue #4, written by Peter Milligan and art and cover by Mike Allred. And so is this something you're getting, Scott?
No.
Nope.
I never read Ecstatics whenever it first came
that's
out.
what I was talking about. Yeah, right.
And so I have not. I think I was the one that mentioned it, and I only mentioned it because of the fact that I knew there was a little bit of a cult following for that Ecstatics book. So
I like the Allred art, so I definitely I'm waiting for it to come out on the Marvel Unlimited or whatever it is. But I definitely want to at least give it a shot.
Well, issue 1 should be getting close.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm still 57. So. Oh, but I got to switch. I got to switch catalogs. Hold on a second, because I got to go to part two here, because my digital it can't be put into one file. I know. Well, Well, okay. So let's talk about that. So, Mike at the shop had not been able to get Marvel previews for a while. I don't know if he's told you guys this story or not. Come to find out, he does a lot of his ordering at the FOC, the Final Order Cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, on the Marvel previews, you only get them if you order them by the actual due date. There's not a Final Order Cutoff. So he was ordering them and not getting them because he didn't order them whatever Diamond wanted to be ordered.
Yeah.
As opposed to whatever it was most convenient for him. So that's why he's been having trouble. Now he knows, so he's going to be getting the Marvel previews back in like he should have all along. So just as an FYI.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for everybody who's wanting to know that. But on page 57, we have Avengers Forever #6, which is introducing the Invincible Vibranium Man. So I don't know. New character. And it's going to have ties to Wakanda, so it could be interesting. But I'm surprised they haven't done it like this before.
Is it supposed to be T'Challa? Like, it kind of got the vibe that it was T'Challa.
Yes. Yeah.
So, he just got a suit upgrade.
Well, it's a multiverse version of T'Challa, because in this one, Killmonger is apparently king of Wakanda, as opposed to T'Challa being king of Wakanda. So that's how I'm reading just a little blurb here. So yeah, the Black Panther is a forgotten legend. So,
oh, you read it better than I did. I skimmed. I saw the big words and I kept on.
There you go. I was just looking at the pictures. Most of what I do most of the time. And then on page 58, they're implying here in Iron Man #20 that Tony Stark is going to propose to Patsy Walker Hellcat. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but they're definitely hinting at that with the title, with the blurb and one of the variant covers. So
well, the way the pose looks, if she does kiss him, I hope she does take the helmet off.
Yeah.
It would just be weird to kiss the helmet.
You don't know what she's into. And that actually finishes Marvel for me. So, else got anything in Marvel?
I got some Star Wars to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Chad.
On 73 is Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, new series that they're starting, and it's going through and revisiting the concept of the 2015 Star Wars run, where like every once in a while they'd have an issue where they just had like Obi-Wan's journals and they would go through it. So this is more of Obi-Wan's journaling. He was quite a journaler in his time. So I thought that was cool to bring back that concept. I don't think they kept that up in the second volume of Marvel's new Star Wars stuff, but I appreciated that. And like every 10, 12 issues, you'd get here's Obi-Wan's journal for a one shot in there. And I thought that was cool. So this is more of that. And should be kind of on the stands for the show to come out. Maybe it's 5 issues, so maybe it'll be out around then. I can't remember if they've even given a release date for that.
And it's written by Christopher Cantwell, so that's a big plus.
And then on page 88 is the Star Wars Legends: The Rebellion Omnibus Volume 1 hardcover, which I'm not going to get the hardcover, but I'll probably wait around for if they come up with a soft cover of it. But it has, which I think is cool. They did this in the big book and in a certain spot too. Is they collect a bunch of different things: Vader's Quest, Star Wars 3D, but then they have the Star Wars Kids magazine from '97. They have all of the comics that were out of the magazine, and that was always the cool part of those. So it's finally a cool way to get a collection of those. Would be in there. $125 for that. For
Ouch.
1,400
Not many kids are gonna be
pages.
buying that.
No, but I think they're probably scratching it. They know who's got money. It's the people that were kids in '97.
And Obi-Wan is supposed to come out May 25th.
Oh, there you go.
So
yeah.
right around the time that this book is on the shelves.
Yeah, heck yeah. And that's all I've got for the Marvel book.
All right. So anything else? We good? Ready for the big book?
The big book.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I'll get that. Go find that file, and it is in one file as opposed to being in multiple.
Marvel must have or the distributor of their catalog must have a file size limit thing going on. Maybe they've run out of data.
Yeah. All right, what we got here? So previews.
Scott, I know you're going to go straight into the image, but I wanted to bring up page 11.
Okay.
Because that's where they have the Indie Edge, and I've read a few comics. The person being spotlighted is Stephanie Phillips, and I've read Wonder Woman Evolution, and I haven't read anything else except I think I'm wanting to pick up that Nuclear Family. But anyway, she was kind of highlighted in this Indie Edge. She also has written things like Harley Quinn, We Only Kill Each Other. Anyway, I just wanted to say that she looks like an interesting writer, and I've liked what I've read of her so far.
I just downloaded that We Only Kill Each Other issue 1 because somebody else had recommended that it was something to check out. So I was like, well, I got to hop in on that and see what's up.
Well, let us know what you think. It might be something we can an indie book we can cover sometime.
Yeah,
it can be our Indie Edge spotlight.
There you go.
Ooh.
And of course, on page 28, don't forget to get in your previews orders by March 18th, ideally. You could probably get a couple of days, but Mike will definitely be wanting to put in an order to get those Marvel previews books at that time. So you'll definitely want to get that order in. I did want to mention a couple of the free comic book day books. On page 34, I guess I didn't realize this at the time, but the Doctor Who from Titan Comics, Doctor Who Free Comic Book Day Special 2022. This is on the cover here, we have the Fugitive Doctor. This is a doctor that showed up during the I don't know if it's the most recent season of the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who. I think I'm a season behind on that, but known as the Fugitive Doctor, and this, I believe, is going to be that character's first appearance in comics. So, and this is a version of the Doctor that we don't have a whole lot of knowledge yet. So, anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. And then because Mike No is apparently a pretty big Three Stooges fan, on page 35 there is an American Mythology Three Stooges free comic book day celebration book. So I'm gonna throw that out there as well. So just as a mention. Anybody else got anything in the free books they want to talk about or that we haven't talked about already?
I don't think so.
All right. So Image, my first thing in Image is page 44.
Okay, I got 40.
40. All right, go ahead.
It's Bone Orchard, The Passageway. This is original graphic novel. This is the first, I think, release out of the Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino kind of horror world that they're building under the Image, under the Bone Orchard headline. I don't normally buy graphic novels as the like, hey, you haven't read any of this, go ahead and go for it. Original solicit for it, but I'll definitely pick this up. It's the idea behind it is there's a geologist that's called to check out some strange phenomena that's happening in a mysterious pit that's next to a lighthouse that kind of appears that he's got to check out. So all the like weird kind of horror tropes all together. You got a lighthouse, you got a weird hole in the ground, and you got phenomena. So we'll see. I'm curious to see where they take this and how they're going to build a horror world. It almost seems kind of forced Stephen King-esque kind of thought process there, but I hope it isn't forced feeling. But we'll see.
I only marked 44 because I didn't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about in the big book. So if somebody really, really wants to talk about this book on page 44, feel free.
I don't have it marked.
Okay, all right then. I guess I'll talk about it. So we have 8 Billion Genies, #1. This is a new 8-issue series. It is written by Charles Soule, who had a really good run on Star Wars. He also had a good run on Daredevil. So the writing on this should be solid. Basically, the premise is that the 8 billion people on the planet all get a genie, and they all get one wish, and chaos ensues from that event. So I guess they're going to cover 1 billion genies per issue. I'm not really for sure about that, but it is. Yeah, the artwork isn't really grabbing me really, but
what's that? It's the same artist that did Curse Words with Charles Soule, and I couldn't get into that, and seems like it's kind of in the same vein as that as
I didn't
well.
read Curse Words, so yeah.
Little wacky, maybe.
Okay,
is a good way to describe it. Adult wacky.
All right. I assume somebody wants to talk about 48.
Yeah. On 48 is Twig #1, written by Scotty Young, art by Kyle Strom. I think is how you say that. I'm really digging this artwork. I read there was. I'm on Scotty Young's free version of Substack, and he had a longer preview than this on there, and I was definitely for it. It's got that Jim Henson kind of vibe of like things you would have seen them sketch out for ideas for Dark Crystal and Labyrinth and all that. Very, very much so. So I'm not always a Scotty Young fan, but there's some stuff that he nails sometimes. I really like Middle West was a really good book that he did, and that Me You Love in the Dark that he had just finished up was really good. So I definitely am going to pick up this #1.
Page 52, we have F This Place, and I mentioned this book because it is written by Kyle Starks, and he was our guest at the 2021 Bird Comics Con. So kind of a fun guy to hang out with. So this is his current book, and this looks like it's going to be an ongoing because it doesn't list it as a limited series. And it's kind of feels like a mashup of like Night at the Museum meets Poltergeist, because they're basically in this house and they have certain rules that they have to follow. If they follow the rules, everything's okay. But if they don't follow the rules, then bad things can happen. So probably a little bit more creepy and violent than Night at the Museum. but I don't know, that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Now my next thing's not until page 132.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So you
I
guys
got
just have
103.
fun.
Ooh, I got 54, the very next page.
All right.
Okay, well go ahead.
So this is called Metal Society. It's the first issue of a 5-issue series written by Zach Kaplan. And it's described as if you liked, it's like Blade Runner meeting Rocky. So the art looks fantastic. That's probably what grabbed me to begin with. And it's basically an inverted future where evolved robots have resurrected humans for manual labor. And when a tribalistic culture clash breaks out, a fearless human fighter and a frustrated displaced robot will square off in a public MMA style sport fight. Yeah, like I said, the art really is what caught my attention, but I'm also interested enough in the premise to probably pick this up. It's issue 1. Page 72. We have you guys said you don't. The next thing is in the
103.
hundreds?
Yeah.
My crossover. We have the volume 2. Since I kind of missed out on the single issues of that second part of crossover, issues 7 through 13, I'm going to pick up this crossover volume 2. Again, it's one of the better series I've read in a long time. It's written by Donny Cates and well, it says various others, so I don't know how much he's pulled back from that. Cloaked on page, it's just by Dark Horse. Oh, whoa. I jumped up to 120, so excuse me. Go ahead.
You're right. On 103, this was the other magazine collection that I was alluding to in Marvel, is that the Star Wars Rebels is doing a trade paperback for a much more affordable price of $30. And this is collecting all of the comics out of the Rebels magazine and the Rebels animation magazine. So I'm really just digging the fact that they're collecting all of the strips out of these magazines. There's a Disney Afternoon magazine it would make my day if they did a collection of all the strips out of there, because I really like that as well.
Yeah, I'm 132. Yeah, I'm 132. So
I only wanted to mention that the Cloaked trade paperback is being solicited now, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because when it first was solicited, it was a title called Icon. This is in Dark Horse. Mike, I had asked for these issues, and he had a hard time finding them. What turns out, between solicitation of issue 1 and the actual publication and delivery, they changed the title to Cloaked.
It makes
sense.
And
I don't know what's going on with that. It's basically the deal where it's a masked crime fighter basically is replacing another one that disappeared, and he's got like a little junior partner. It definitely looks like a Batman Robin or superhero with a sidekick type story. But I just thought it was interesting because they changed the title for some reason.
I don't remember that title change.
I wouldn't have known it if it wasn't for Mike showing it to me.
Ah, okay.
I remember us talking about the book,
Yeah.
and then I remember this showing up, like issue 2 solicited, and I did remember thinking that I didn't remember it being the same name, but when we talk about so many books, I just kind of moved on because it wasn't on my list. But
yeah, I have a few issues I have a few copies of issue 1 of this. So
really, I didn't get the first issue.
Well,
you need to. Yeah, I mean,
maybe a little bit of a markup.
I was naturally.
Nah.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, Mike, maybe he's gonna still be able to give me issue 1, but he showed me where they had changed the name. So if I can't get it from him, let me know, or I'll let you know, and I'll see if I can get it from you.
All right.
Okay. Your turn.
All right, so 132. I'm not normally going to mention a Transformers book, but we have Transformers Last Spot Standing. I completely feel like that they are going to give the Transformers the last Ronin take here. So it's just basically the idea that maybe this is the last Transformer. So the last bot standing for all the Transformers fans out there.
And that because they're losing the license, right?
Oh, that's right. They are, aren't they? Are they? Where's it going?
What's that? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like all the Hasbro stuff, the GI Joes, and the.
I know we talked about that last episode.
That's right.
Previous episode.
Well, it must not be too terribly long because, like on the next page, or on 135, they talk about GI Joe marching on to issue 300. So it's going to be at least 7 months.
The end of the year, maybe, or something.
Yeah. 139, second issue of Rocketeer: The Great Race. I'll probably mention this all 4 months that this book is solicited. So,
I had it marked, but I knew you would bring it up.
And it's got a bonus story about Dave Stevens. So,
well,
they all do. So that's also will be repeated all 4 issues as well.
Yeah.
So. 204.
153.
Go ahead.
153. Because I know all you people in listener land can't get enough of Elvira. It's time for the new Elvira series called Elvira in Horrorland. I did like the Elvira meets Vincent Price series. Very campy, very corny. But yes, I still loved it. And so she's still got some momentum here. It's by Dynamite. And it's everything you might expect. So if you like the other stuff by her, campy horror, then you might want to pick this up. And that does me until 204 as well.
Same.
Okay. Well, 204. This is from Boom Studios. We got a new ongoing series from Stephanie Phillips titled Grim Number 1. And this is basically the story of a Grim Reaper who apparently has to find out what happened or where is the actual or the main Grim Reaper. We kind of get some very small preview art and one of the covers for this. But the premise is definitely interesting, and with it being an ongoing series as opposed to being advertised as like a 4-issue or 6-issue limited series, that gives me some hope for this particular title.
And this is the same Stephanie Phillips.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The same one that I mentioned in the Indie Edge section.
Mm-hmm.
She's edgy.
Definitely edgy, man. Edge Lord.
222.
I'm okay until 254.
All right. So I'm just mentioning Once and Future because this starts the final story arc for this. So apparently this series is going to run, looks like 30 issues, and they are nearing the end. I read the first 2 volumes of this, and the first volume was really, really good. And then the second volume, they started expanding it too much too quickly. So I thought it was going to be focused on Arthurian legend, and then all of a sudden they start bringing in like Beowulf, and it's like, wait, what happened to Arthur? So, yeah, I don't know how this. I haven't picked it up since the second volume, but here we're on the last volume, so maybe after this wraps up, it'll entice me to sit down and read the rest of it. So, 236.
234.
Okay, go ahead.
234. Ablaze Comics is doing a Jimi Hendrix biography book called Electric Requiem. And it's a biographical, just so that it'd be autobiographical, be wild. But the drawings at the bottom of the page were pretty cool. I like the style that they were doing there. So I scanned the little QR code and went and read a little bit of the
QR codes.
I know. We thought they weren't gonna.
They're just terrible.
Were pointless. Took me right to the download for it. I downloaded a little PDF. It was great. It's
so easy.
and then the pages were really good too. I like the artwork. It reminded me kind of Bruce Timm kind of style artwork, and the storytelling wasn't like, it's not entirely grounded in reality. It's got a lot of like, in the preview pages there was like stories of his, I think, grandmother telling him about some stuff, and it was kind of mystical like creatures, and so it's really kind of over exaggerated and neat the way that they're telling that story. So that might be something to pick up if you're into James Marshall Hendricks.
Oh, You knew his middle name.
236 Abstract Studios, just another printing of Motor Girl, which I think is Terry Moore's second best series after Rachel Rising. So it's only 10 issues. If you've not read it, it's a quick read and it's good. So
yeah.
The page read across from it on 237. Action Lab is putting out a book called The Ballad of Ronin, and this is number 1 out of 6 for that. Essentially, the premise behind it is that there's the magic in the world has died a long time ago, but an orphan, a priest, a warrior, and a fairy. Sounds like a weird joke.
Walk into a bar.
Right. They're banding together to escape the darkest creatures in the world and have to find the magic and bring it back out. It says it's for fans of Once and Future, Scott. So if you're into that, you might.
I don't know if I have it after the second volume. I wasn't a fan, so I don't know. I'll have to read the third volume, see if I'm still a fan. And if I am, then maybe I'll pick this up. So.
Then maybe this, yeah. The cover art kind of caught my eye. I thought it was kind of a neat. There's a weird fairy woman with trees growing out of her head that's holding a baby, and then a very tiny, long redheaded girl that's also holding a baby. So
I'm putting this on my list to think about. I'm
right.
putting it on the list.
All right.
It's out of Ronan as opposed to Ronin. That's yeah.
Oh.
That was just I'm okay. Anyway, Ronan as opposed to the Ronin. So let's see. My next thing, I don't have the page number down, but I know Mike does. So I'm gonna
238.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And then I think I'm done for a little bit. 238 is The Return of Bunny Mask. This was a really cool mini series that Aftershock put out last year, like a little 5-issue. And there was promises that there would be a second volume that would be coming soon, and it's already soon, I guess. And so this is picking up where the story left off with our main character, Tyler, who had set free the creature Bunny Mask from her cave. So now she's out and about roaming and finding bad people and punishing them, and he's got to try to figure out if he can control her. I really dig the artwork from that. I guess Andrea Moody or Muddy, but I don't know if there's a different way to say it because it's a guy. But I really enjoyed this the team on this book.
Andrea, I believe that he's Italian, and just like Andrea Sorrentino, Andrea does not indicate feminine gender, assignment for a name or whatever.
Right on.
Like you might think in Spanish, not in Italian.
Gotcha.
254 for me. You guys, or you got something before that?
Are you on Ahoy Comics?
Yes.
Okay, then that's the one that I knew you would want to talk about. So.
Oh.
Well, thanks, Stuart Moore. I was just reading. Well, anyway, this is the obligatory plug for the Wrong Earth. This is I think the third of 5 one-shots. And this one's written by Stuart Moore. And I was trying to remember, what do I know Stuart Moore from? So I just looked it up, and it looks like he's just been a journeyman for both the two big companies and a lot of indie stuff. But what I remember him from is a pretty long run of the Firestorm, the 2000s Firestorm series. And he's joined by Fred Harper on art and Jamal Eigel he's been the main artist in the Wrong Earth proper series, but he's the cover artist. And so this is it's also got an incentive variant cover by one of my favorite artists, Gene Ha. And I recommend this basically this whole brand if you get a chance to pick up any comic with the Wrong Earth title.
I don't have anything till 318, so.
Yeah, 261.
319 for me.
Okay. So on 261, there is the Enola Holmes, the graphic novels, and this is a collection of 3 of the Enola Holmes books. So if you like the movie that was on Netflix, which I really dug, I thought that was good. This might be cool to pick up if you've got a kid who's really into mysteries and whatnot. It's a strong young female kind of role. Kind of obviously she's doing solving things, mysteries, because she's a Holmes. But they caught my eye because I was like, oh, that's 3 stories all in one. That's a pretty good little thing going on there for anybody that has a little girl that wants to be inspired by that kind of thing, or if you just like that kind of a thing. Either way, I'll quit rambling.
I'm marking this down because I've got granddaughters, and that's
yeah.
Anybody got anything for 318?
Nope.
Okay, just a 6th edition of the Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics is coming out. So if you kind of want to get an idea of what your book grade-wise might get if you were to send it into CGC, or just want to know why there's such wide swings in prices based on grades, then this is the book that will point you in the right direction. I don't know if it's the 5th edition or 4th edition that I have. I can't imagine it's changed a whole lot, but I guess if you just want updated pictures or you've never had one, then it's worth putting in your library.
You know, I've considered buying this several times. I've seen it's listed a few times, and I'm to the point though now. If I'm going to rely on people I know that I trust and say, Scott, take a look at this. Tell me.
Well, you don't want to count on me because
what does your Overstreet price guide say? So I don't have to buy my own.
It is kind of fun though to read how that's done. I'm right on the very next page, and it's not a solicitation. It's a little feature they call a creator you should know, and it's featuring Paul Levitz, who was a longtime writer, eventually publisher of DC Comics, and he's well known for his work on the All-Star Comics. The revival of the All-Star Comics in the 1970s, and he co-created the Huntress in that series.
I have that issue.
Yep, that actually was in DC Superstars number 17, I think. Yeah, it shows there. Yeah, that's a great cover too by Joe Staten. And he also was the writer and co-creator of the Great Darkness saga of Legion fame, which ran 4 or 5 issues back in 1982 when I was a sophomore in high school. Anyway, I like when they do these little spotlights, because he's just a household name for me in comics. Yep.
323. They are previewing for next previews the big book for the Overstreet Price Guide. And the big book has got larger print. It's got a soft cover and a square bound version. This also has a Rick Burchett cover. But these are not easy to get your hands on, these big books. You can't even get them like on Amazon or anything. So because I tried to get one. I've tried to get one for the last couple of years, and I've missed my opportunity multiple times. So I got to keep my eye out on this and just order it whenever it's available. So I don't know if they just print, like they may just print them just to previews or pre-orders. Yeah, print order or something. But
wow.
Yeah.
I've seen them being used in the comic shops before, and I always thought that would be cool, but I just don't.
I wish they would spiral bind them like they used to.
That's what the ones I've seen.
Yeah,
were
they used to put them in a spiral bound. I like that a whole lot more, but these are just square bound, not spiral, unfortunately. So
yeah. Well, as you can see, you guys but the audience can. But I got to wear my cheaters for even looking at the previews catalog. But I do for the Overstreet.
Yeah. 384 for me.
374.
Well, I got 337. It's only because since Dune has not come out on HBO Max yet, I guess I'll have to order the official movie adaptation graphic novel.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason I've had that flagged.
Yeah, there was another Dune series in here someplace, and I didn't even mention it either. So.
What I tell you, Mike, is probably like middle of the month or something like that.
You did, yeah. I keep checking about once every other day. I check and nothing there.
Yeah, for some reason somebody seemed to think it was like the 14th or the 15th or something like that.
344.
Go.
Okay.
Women Discovers graphic novel. Again, I got granddaughters. I like to expose them to educational stuff in the form of comic books. And what I like about this is it's not political. It's not. It's just basically historical about women that have contributed so significantly to science. And there's too few women in science. So everything from Marie Curie to Rosalind Franklin and Ada Lovelace. It's just their contributions have been overlooked for way too long, and I like the idea that this is being published, and I'm going to pick it up. Then I jump to 366.
Still you.
So good.
The DC Book of Lists.
I saw this.
I've thought about doing this before, and I know that the internet has all this stuff, but something is compelling me to put this on my bookshelf. And look, if I pay $24 for this book, it's just $24 my kids won't get in their inheritance. So why not? It looks like a lot of fun. It basically talks about, the first meetings of Batman and Superman, or all of Hawkman's reincarnations and Jimmy Olsen's transformations. It's just geeky fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on 391.
Well, 384 from Titan.
Okay.
We have Doctor Who Origins #1, and this is going to be a new series. It doesn't say that it's limited. Mostly it's been running about 12. That features the Fugitive Doctor. So you'll get a preview of it for Free Comic Book Day, and then probably like a 12-issue series starting here on May 18th.
Back on 374.
Sorry.
You're
man.
Right.
Shad's gonna be mad.
Wah wah.
Under Source Point Press, they actually have a couple of one shots this month. That I'm all for trying out a one shot. There's not like kind of low risk on that, but the first one's called Nightmare Man on 374, and this is kind of the concept that this guy is struggling with a bunch of stuff in his life, and this nightmare that he had when he was a kid starts reappearing, and he catches it in real life. He sees it in real life, starts coming up there, and turns out that this is a nightmare that's been haunting children for decades, and so he's got to face it down and come to terms with it, and I guess for all of these children over history. It just seemed like a real cool. Anytime that you get into nightmares and the dream world and all of that, that is always interesting for me to pick up, and especially for a one-shot 32-page book, there's not a lot of over commitment to it. I don't have to worry about going like, it's 3 issues in. Do I keep it? Do I see if it's going to get better? And then on 376, there's a book called My Brother Teddy, which says it's a non-verbal one-shot. I'm wondering if that means there's no words in it, like the one Step by Bloody Step, the Image is doing. Which I'm all for that. It seems like I'm interested to see how Step by Bloody Step comes out. I know the first issue's out on the shelves, but I haven't read it yet. But this is essentially kind of the concept of if you when you're a kid and you're so in love with your toy, you're obsessed with it, that what if the toy becomes real and gets separated from you and will do anything to return to you. So and just the idea of these non-verbal comics is interesting, and once again, one shot, low risk in it. So I think I'll pick up both of these.
And all these Source Point books are saddle stitched, which is interesting.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. I just noticed that every single one of them says saddle stitch.
That's cool.
So they're just bound. They're bound a little differly. We don't have staples. Yeah.
Well, since we're on a Source Point Press kick, I have to make that plug for Sham Comics again. This is the comic where they take old Golden Age public domain comics and then they re-dialogue them. And let me tell you, this stuff is funny. is just so funny. And this one's called The Nerdly Boys, and it looks like more of that, 40s and 50s adventure explorer type comic book stories, but with modern dialogue. Even if you just want to you just experience it once, check it out. It says here in the top of the cover, it says another golden age classic, quote unquote, gets plundered. So that these folks that do this have a great time doing it.
Yeah.
I'm okay till 391.
That's where I'm at. It's 391.
Well, go ahead.
Well, no, you go ahead because we're on tomorrow's.
He marked it for
you. Go ahead.
Well, I always look at the alter ego to see if I might want to pick it up, and I might pick it up because Alfredo Alcala was one of those Filipino artists that it was kind of like the Filipino invasion back in the 70s, and some of the best artists I've ever seen were from that era, from the Philippines. And so I'll probably it's talking about his work on Savage Sword of Conan. Of course, he did a lot of work for both Marvel, DC, and Warren. And then you've got Back Issue magazine, which is it's talking about the 1980s pre-crisis DC miniseries, including Green Arrow, which I have that little 4-issue miniseries, Krypton Chronicles, Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. Some of the best Alan Moore stories came from Green Lantern Corps, or Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. America versus the Justice Society by Roy Thomas. Conquer of Barren Earth. I want to say that was Ron Randall. He was the artist, I think.
Did Grell not write that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I might be wrong, but
you're probably right.
This is some stuff that is right in my nostalgia, shoot me right in the nostalgia or heart. And yeah, so I wanted to tout those two, especially the back issue.
And that Green Arrow cover was done by Trevor Von Eden, who we have an interview with in episode 29 of the Camp.
And I asked him that question about, did he have an affinity for
street characters, and he just blew you off.
He did. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. It seems like the ones I really read and liked by you were street level characters, Sorry, man. I didn't mean to typecast you.
I'm ready for side 2.
I got 395. I don't normally have anything in Valiant to talk about, but this is Archer and Armstrong Forever #1. I would have to say that Archer and Armstrong is the only series that I've ever enjoyed out of Valiant. So if you like kind of weird buddy team up books and you're looking for a new one that could be comical, this might be something for you to check out.
I did mark 408 as the Frazetta book cover art book. It's not cheap. At a slipcase is for $69, or just the hardcovers $40. But you want to talk about the all-time great fantasy artist, Frank Frazetta, and it's nothing but covers. And it looks like it's how many pages? 184 pages. That's a lot. So, and that's all for me in the front part of the book.
And the last thing I've got is on 410 is from Z2 Comics is last comic book on the left is the last podcast on the left is doing their own kind of almost horror Mad Magazine kind of book. And so it seems like it would be interesting. It's going to be a series of graphic novels that they're going to do, this one being the first. So if you're into that Mad Magazine humor, or if you listen to the I know we don't talk about other podcasts on here, but the last podcast on the left, which is a horror oriented, then this might be something to pick up.
I just thought that was a play on Last House on the Left. So I didn't
all the way
is.
Is
it? Okay.
It's levels, because their last podcast on the left is based on Last House on the Left.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're just going further in.
All right. So I'm on page 31 of side 2. So
I'm on 21. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say that the action figure that's being solicited here, of the Vision, he's a villain. That is one.
Yeah, with the teeth.
Yes.
What,
man?
What?
I know. He's one of the nicest Marvel characters I know, and they really make him look to be like a villain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. It's like, what?
Yeah.
30. What was I? Okay, 31. 31. I'm still at 31.
Okay.
Anything before 31?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, I didn't notice a whole lot of Universal monsters in this catalog. This is one thing I remember. So we got Universal Monsters, the Mummy 7-inch Ultimate Black and White figurine.
Yep.
So for all the Universal Monster fans, and like I said, if you want to get Mike No talking, just talk about Universal Monsters next time you're in the shop. And also on page 31, this is just not something you see on a regular basis. The King Comics Superhero Wave 1 minifigures. So you've got Flash Gordon, you got the Phantom, Ming the Merciless. You have all these characters from King Comics, and there's just not a whole lot of King Comics stuff out there. So I just thought that was a little unusual, not something that you would expect to see.
Do you think they're about the size of the lead figures that they put out some years ago?
I would.
Couple inches.
I bet they're not even that tall. I bet they are more like HeroClix size.
Oh, yeah.
Would be my guess, especially at that price point of $9.94. I can't imagine. Okay, well, okay. Is that $9.94 per figure, or is that $9.94 per?
I bet it's per figure.
I think it's
okay.
per, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's it's not a blind box either.
Because if you get much smaller
figures,
yeah.
It doesn't give the dimensions of the box even, so I have no idea.
Ming the Merciless.
So I just thought those were unusual. And I'm done with the catalog, so if you guys just finish it out here.
I got 74, Mike.
My last one is 58, and that's the Dark Side action figure. And I normally wouldn't even consider getting an action figure. I've got a few, but it's always been that I've seen them at a store and I'd get them on a whim. I never have pre-ordered an action figure, but this one looks tempting until you see the price. It's basically it's a whole set of it's Darkseid and all of his accoutrements, different head sculpts. Angry and regular, which I didn't know he had anything other than angry, but $153.90, and I'm thinking, wow, that you must really be a fan to want to get that.
Yeah, that feels more like statue price as opposed to
it really
action
is,
figure price. Yeah, so
yeah. That's it. For me.
I just saw this on page 59 right across from it. There are these Rock Mono minifigures, and they are 1/12 scale guitar and amplifier accessories. And just tiny, it looks like tiny guitars with tiny amps and tiny stands. And I don't know, I might have to check out what kind of options you have. It's a $6.99 per, so I'm curious, like, do you get to choose, or is it like a blind? It doesn't say blind.
I bet I bet they're in boxes, and I bet it's blind. I bet it's a blind.
I would have to think so. Yeah, it's weird enough though.
Designs in 3 secret designs to collect.
Oh so, yeah,
so you probably got to get at least 3 boxes to have a chance to get the 3 secret designs.
So and I of course would only want like. I only like the Les Paul body style out of those options. I'm not a big Strat guy, so I'm not gonna just blindly have it. Maybe I'll get it for a present for someone, but they're kind of neat. On page 74 though is my only thing, and we've got Ted Lasso buttons and magnets, and I just love the Ted Lasso show, so you don't see a lot of things for Ted Lasso, but they've got all the funny little catchphrases and whatever that you can get little pins or magnets for. So
okay, Mike Atchison, what book are you looking forward to out of this catalog? Book or books are you looking forward to out of this catalog?
Well, the one book I'm looking forward to the most is Danger Street by Tom King, and Jorge Fornes that brings back all of those first issue special characters.
Shad, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to a couple of books. I'm looking forward to the return of Bunny Mask in the Bunny Mask: The Hollow Inside, and then the couple of Image books, the new Bone Orchard Passageway graphic novel, and then that Twig #1 looks pretty good.
I also am looking forward to Danger Street. I think that's going to be a cool series, and I'm going to also throw in just a second issue of the Rocketeer. Still waiting to read the first issue. Don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but I'm still hoping, keeping my fingers crossed for a good Rocketeer story. So, all right, it's Mike Atchison's favorite part of the podcast. What are you got any investment picks for us, Mike?
I do. One,
right,
at least.
One. All right. What do you got for us?
That's Duo #1. It's introducing two characters in one, two characters for the price of one. That it's in the Milestone universe, put out by DC, and written by Greg Pak, and art by Koi Pham and Scott Hanna. And it's introducing these two characters that merge into one being with sort of nanobot powers. So as it being a new character and it's sort of innovative, I'm going to kind of count that. I can almost see this being maybe the new Firestorm. Some people might call that sacrilege, but yep.
All right, Shad, what about you? You got any money picks?
I think my money pick is going to be that Bone Orchard: The Passageway. With it being the first entry in this new Bone Orchard world, and then the fact that it's the first thing in it as a graphic novel, and not a lot of people are going to pick it up thinking that it's something, but if they open up an entire, a TV series based on the Bone Orchard world, and this is the first appearance of a bunch of things within it, that might be.
So do you think that it's going to be separate? So do you think Gideon Falls is going to be part of that?
I don't know. They haven't said that Gideon Falls is part of it.
Okay. See, because I kind of took that to be that that was going to be part of the same. They were all going to be the same. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but that's how I took it.
Because I follow Lemire on his Substack also, and this seems to be a whole new push out of a world building that they're doing with the Bone Orchard mythos. I guess depending on when's Free Comic Book Day hit.
Well, it's supposed to be the first Saturday in May. But I don't know if that's going to be true this year or not. So
right. So that may be the first offering actually technically under the Bone Orchard mythos, because they've got a Free Comic Book Day book that's original material there. So that could be the first thing, but this will be the first main, I guess, push out of that world on them.
I just kind of thought, since it was the same creative team that did Gideon Falls, and what was the other book that they'd done as well?
Oh yeah, there was something else that I can't remember what it is. Oh, it was Primordial.
That's right. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's what I got.
No, I'm going to go with Duo #1 as well. Anytime you're introducing a new character, and of course, whenever you're looking for diversity in your characters, is something that we're going to see a lot in film. That's definitely something that could end up in a TV show. Hopefully, it'll do better than CW.
Hopefully.
Yeah. The Vibranium Man being introduced in Avengers Forever #6. So we have this variant of the Black Panther. That's kind of interesting to me. And Grimm #1 by Stephanie Phillips. Yeah. I think that also has some potential as well. So, all right. So for complaints, what's the email address, Mike?
Oh yes, it's M as in Mike .Atchison90 @gmail.com. I know it's very inventive, and I'm looking forward to your complaints.
Shad, where can people reach out to you at?
You can find me on Facebook at Shad Schubert. That's SHAAD SCHUBERT. And the Can't Get Rights have some shows coming up, so check out the Can't Get Rights on Facebook or wherever else you look up stuff.
And I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at burgcomics.com, BURG comics.com. And I'm still waiting for Mike Noah to post some details about the next mini-con. So hopefully he will get to promoting that pretty soon. It's going to happen in July. And as soon as we know more, we will pass that on in a future episode of the podcast.
Scott, do we want to tell them what we're covering on the next episode? So if they want to like catch up to it, kind of book club style. And
that's a good idea. So, but now I have to go look it up because I don't remember.
I know what it is. I have it in front of me.
Okay, you go then.
I'm ready to go. So next episode, we're going to be covering Peacemaker season 1, as well as Stray Dogs Dog Days issue 1 and 2. That's the little mini series that they did after the first volume of that.
All right, Shad, this is your new job. At the end of our episode, you are going to be the next issue blurb guy.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what's going to be on the episode after that?
Oh, you want to do that? Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. I knew that one though. So go ahead.
Then the next issue, if you want to go ahead and do your homework ahead of time, we're going to be covering the movie Eternals. That's now on Disney Plus, as well as the first volume of We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
All right, good deal. And don't forget, we got our new CLZ Shake that we're going to do each episode live and put ourselves on the spot, because that's what we like to do, is embarrass ourselves. So obviously that's what we've been doing for the last hour and 30 minutes. So there you have it. So there's another episode of the Campus Comics Cast, and we'll be back with you soon. Okay, but we don't talk about stuff like that on this podcast, so now I got to edit that out.
Oh, what's that? Promoting another podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if you edit it out.